So in my opinion, the Samsung Galaxy S20 FE is still a very, very good phone for sure. And if you were for some reason wanting to go ahead and pick up a somewhat older phone, but you're coming from a very, very old phone, I really don't think you can go wrong with something like a Samsung Galaxy S20 FE. Considering that this thing is kind of still being sold on Amazon for fairly cheap, I think it's actually a fairly decent option in my opinion. Now, I do want to kind of hit on some very, very core fundamentals of the S20 FE. One, again, this was supposed to be more of a budget, cheaper phone. It really wasn't supposed to be competing with like the super premium, super expensive phones of that year. It was supposed to be, because it came out, a little bit later than the S20, it was supposed to be a cheaper option. So I definitely would say if you want a better phone, maybe the S20 would be a better one overall, but the S20 FE is a little bit cheaper in some areas as well. Now the outside of this phone I think still looks really good. I don't like the plastic back on these phones too much, but I think with these types of phones you're probably going to get used to it, and I don't think it's like a deal breaker by any means. But I really do like internally the chipset and the actual amount of RAM and the power that this phone still has going for it. So when I got this phone back in 2020, I thought it was pretty much the same exact thing as pretty much the S20 except for the plastic back. It didn't have the curved display, didn't have as good of a display, but you were still having an awesome amount of selection of ports and so many different things from this. Now you don't have the headphone jack, but that micro SD card slot is like one of the most important things I could probably imagine that I wish a lot of phones still had. And nowadays, as I'm playing more and more games, specifically more emulated games, and I'm actually pretty much like maxing out storage on a lot of different phones I have, it is kind of annoying to actually go ahead and pretty much have to deal with basically either upgrading my storage on my phone or constantly having to plug in an external drive whenever I want to play a certain game or whatever the case is. And these were actually some of the last Samsung phones to have a micro SD card slot. So it is actually kind of sad that that is the case. Now this phone only maxes out a storage with 256 gigabytes, but with that micro SD card slot, you can go and expand that storage out. And although the S20 FE may not be the first one I would choose, the S20 lineup, which pretty much has the same internals almost, I've been using a lot of these phones for a lot of these, games that I've been playing because of that micro SD card. I can literally just take my SD card, plug it in from one device to the other, and it is a seamless experience. The power of this phone is still up there. This phone may be on one of its last versions of software, so that is kind of the disadvantage. But when I look at this phone, I still think this phone has a ton of power in it, and that's not even touching some of the highlights of this phone, like the battery life and the camera. Just from the power of this phone, even though it's almost 3 years old, it's honestly still a pretty decent phone, and for how old this phone is, it's honestly kind of amazing. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about this. Let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that would mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.